Hi, this is Alvin from Dr. Wealth. Cryptocurrency had a very rough week. Just as people thought that cryptocurrency, the worst is over, yet there is another collapse. FTX this time round. It used to be one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world. It was third largest. And today, I try to find the coin market cap ranking of the top crypto exchanges. FTX just disappeared. So it is a very sad thing because it was seen as like really one of the premier crypto exchanges in the world. People were talking about it. It has a very great story, and it went from zero just 3 years ago to 32 billion valuation, and now it's back to zero. And what's this spectacular story? I'm going to tell you in a while. So it started off with, of course, the key man is Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF in short. So he's a vegan, he has parents who are law professors, and he graduated from MIT. He started off trading the cryptocurrency market. So he will notice that the Bitcoin in the US exchanges was selling or trading at a cheaper price than the exchanges in Japan. So what he did was he did an arbitrage. So he would buy the Bitcoins from US and eventually he sell it in the Japan exchanges, thereby reaping easy money from there. And he made his first $20 million just by doing this alone. And he went on to set up FTX, a crypto exchange, in 2019. So that was how that story started. And it was very amazing in a sense that he was able to raise money and the valuation of FTX just ballooned in a very fast pace. So for example, Coinbase, which is a competitor, another crypto exchange, was valued just about $400 million within a span of 3 years, but FTX reached 18 billion in 3 years, and it's actually more, which I'll show you another chart later. So this FTX was really one of the rising stars in the industry, and it attracted a lot of top-tier investors like your Sequoia, SoftBank, Third Point, Temasek, Tiger Global, BlackRock, and many more. And these guys can't be wrong, right? And this is a rising star right in front of their eyes, and they just pour about, in total, $1.8 billion into FTX based on 32 billion valuation actually, which I'll show you in a while. And that makes SBF the richest crypto billionaire in the world in such a short time, even leapfrog CZ, which is the founder of Binance. Okay, so this ranking is 2022 March, and he is just 30 years old. So it was really a very it was a very nice story where someone from a humble background just rose to fame with a lot of money in a newfound technology space. And he was, of course, very much in the media, giving a lot of interviews, talks, and trying to engage and get more following and clout all around the world. And I remember I just watched this not long ago, David Rubenstein show, where he interviewed SBF, and I had very good impression of SBF after that. And of course, because I like this Rubenstein show, he's always a very good, he always pick very good interviewees, and he's a very good interviewer himself. So that really, so that media like this can really shape people's opinion and create a good image for himself, and he managed to do that very well. And there's another part of him that is very commendable, is that he wants to be a philanthropist. And he even said that the reason why he wants to be rich is not because he likes money. He wants to give money away. So by having more money means the ability to give more becomes higher. So that was his goal in life. And at 30 years old, he is driving like Toyota Corolla instead of a Lamborghini, right? He sleeps in a beanbag. Yes, he lives in the Bahamas, but he shared it with 10 other roommates, and he wants to really give away the money. So you can see his whole story is very attractive, and it is very easy to buy into this very philanthropic Robin Hood kind of image. It was what he was able to picture. Of course, we never know whether that was truly him or whether he's putting up a front, right? Because now people are starting to guess, is he a wolf underneath sheepskin? And not only philanthropy to the less privileged, he also helped other crypto firms during the recent crisis. So companies like Liquid, Voyager were down and need liquidity, and FTX came in and saved them. And we're talking about Voyager is a $1.4 billion, and Liquid was undisclosed amount of in terms of the acquisition, right? So nobody actually know how much have FTX spent. But, from the outsider view, you say, oh yeah, he's pouring in money to save the industry, stabilizing the market, doing well for the ecosystem. So you also get some brownie points from there. And the impression is that FTX has money, right? Billions and billions of dollars is not the issues for them. So nobody would think that FTX would eventually become financially distressed. So this is the chart I was talking about, where the valuation was not just 18 billion after 3 years. It actually went as high as 25 and subsequently peaked at $32 billion in a Series C funding. And then soon after, you can see that it just collapsed to almost nothing. And let's now find out what is really going on, what caused this collapse. So it's important to know that there is another party besides FTX. It's called the Alameda Research, which is also owned by SBF. Okay, so what went wrong was that FTX started to hand over clients' money, right? Which means the retail investors' money. You pump in your money to buy crypto, and you're holding those crypto under the custody of FTX. But actually, FTX moved that tokens or money to Alameda. Okay, so this in a traditional or a regulated financial industry, this is not allowed because there's this concept called segregated accounts, which means your company money and client's money should not be put into the same account. So don't even talk about passing your client money to another party for taking on risky bets. So this is definitely a no-no, right? And I believe that SBF, given his caliber, should know this, that this is a very risky and unethical way of doing things. And not only that, Alameda Research essentially was holding a lot of FTT tokens. So FTT tokens are tokens that was created by FTX, right? So these tokens is another form of crypto. People can buy and sell it. And by holding this FTT, FTX customers and clients are able to trade with a discounted commission. So that was how it helped with the adoption. But as a trading firm, holding so many FTT on behalf of FTX is risky because there's a very big concentration risk, right? About half of the assets are in FTT. And this FTT is volatile. It's not like your stable currencies or things that don't move that much. And when they're very volatile, the fear is that when the value goes down, that's where you can't liquidate enough and pay back the customers, right? Because they took the customers' money. So that was that vulnerability that existed. And CoinDesk actually reported this Alameda exposure, and that was the start of the downfall of FTX, because now people start to worry about will FTX run into liquidity issue, and people, when they think about it, they will start withdrawing and become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because FTX will be scrambling for liquidity to pay back the customers, and they realize that, oh no, the FTT price is also falling. How am I going to raise enough cash to give back to the customers? So this is what get the first domino fall. And the thing is, and we need to backtrack a little bit because Binance does hold a lot of FTT as well. Because Binance initially invested in FTX, and they were actually friends. They were quite amicable in the past, but over the years, as FTX rose to prominence, somehow the relationship between CZ and SBF soured, and one day CZ said, okay, we are going to sell our stake, and so they did, and they took in BUSD as well as FTT. So that's how Binance ended up holding FTT tokens. And after learning about this Alameda Research holding very large amount of FTT and the risk of FTX going insolvent, CZ decided that they want to exit from all the FTT tokens, and that's together with BUSD, it was worth like $2.1 billion. And they did say that they didn't want to just dump it at one shot, but they will do it gradually so as not to impact the market. But that news don't sit well with the rest of the investor. Imagine this big investor say that I'm going to sell. Every small investor will be thinking, oh, better sell now before the price plunge, and that caused the bank run on FTX even worse than ever before. So that really culminated into just a few days. The whole FTX eventually halted the withdrawals, right? So even before it was halted, about 6 billion was withdrawn within 72 hours. Okay, so that was a very, very quick bank run. So FTX eventually really ran into a liquidity issue, even though initially SBF denied it. And SBF ended up calling CZ and said that, hey, Binance, can you buy out FTX? We are in trouble. And initially, Binance said, okay, let's take a look and sign a non-binding letter of intent. That means they want to do some due diligence, check whether Binance can really take on this FTX before he really commit to it. And after checking the numbers, CZ said, no, we're not going to buy you. We are unable to help. And that caused a lot more tremors to the crypto market, and you can see that a lot of the crypto prices have crashed. So Binance walked away and FTX have no deal. So FTX is now still looking for deals to go through and see who is able to save it, right? If nobody save it, then you'll really be worthless and clients' money will be just gone with a poof. And why FTX is a big thing is because it ranks among the crypto failures that we have seen so far. Terra, Luna was a 60 billion loss. FTX is a 32 billion valuation. Celsius 25 billion. Three Arrows Capital was 10 billion. Okay, so a lot of all these cases, if you realize investors are unlikely to recover the money, and that it's not just with the institutional investors, the VCs, but also the retail investors, because when you put all this money buying the tokens, FTT tokens, or you have your tokens or crypto being held in custody by FTX, okay, you will also likely lose it. Okay, so don't hope for the best, right? Prepare for the worst in this kind of scenario. And the next thing is that I also wanted to show you what other impact, right? Not just losing money. Losing money is very obvious, okay? So for FTX, they were a very strong supporter of the Solana ecosystem. It's a layer 1 crypto, for those who understand what it is, right? So it was one of the popular Ethereum killer, because a lot of applications can be built on top of this Solana network. And there's even a term for it, Sam's coin. Sam's referring to SBF, right? So he like Serum and Radium, which are on this Solana network. So with FTX being unable to support this Solana network, okay, they have about 10% of the Solana coins. So the stability of Solana is also in question at this point in time. So there is some cascading effect to other cryptocurrency as well. It's not just a FTX issue. It's just not a FTT token issue alone. And the third thing is people will also start to worry whether other exchanges will fail, right? Because FTX is a very huge exchange, third in the world. And now, how about the smaller ones? Are they doing funny, fishy business behind the scene as well, right? And investors will start to think, okay, maybe I should really take out my money, withdraw from all this centralized exchange and pass it on to their own wallet, okay? And here is where the important message is, right? Not your keys, not your coins. Okay, so that has always been a mantra that crypto investors have been advocating, and this is really an incident where everybody should take heed. Okay, so you can have your private wallet on MetaMask, or you can have a hardware wallet like Trezor. Just do it, right? Transfer your tokens where you want to hold long term, and that will keep it safer, right? Rather than put it on a central exchange, now you can't withdraw it like what you experience in FTX now. Okay, so that is a very important lesson. And number 4 is that there's a philanthropy arm. Okay, so SBF does do what he's preached. Okay, so he did set up this future fund, which was really to do good things, to advance certain causes that SBF wanted to fund, right? So they have a team, and in fact, they have just announced their resignation, and they're just closing it, okay, because they don't have any funds to do it, to carry out the philanthropy, and also they are not sure whether SBF have been taking them for a ride all this while. And so that is a sad thing even for philanthropy, right? Because for him, he really pledged billions of dollars if indeed those money were given away for good causes. More good outcome could have come out of it. But unfortunately, it has come to an end, right? So even philanthropy has a loss in this area. So here are the quick 3 lessons that you can learn from whole saga, right? I hope now you have a better picture of what has happened. Okay, so the very first thing is that understand from a big picture point of view, crypto is still in its early stages, and it will make a lot of mistakes. Okay, as it evolves. Okay, this won't be the last mistake that they have done. But crises like this are necessary for any industry or sector to grow, right? Because they learn the mistake, then they say, okay, let's not do this, let's institute certain rules and regulations to make it safer, right? So I do believe that crypto is here to stay. It's just that the talks about regulations and things like that will increase. And I do think that having some form of regulation should keep the ecosystem stronger, not weaker. And second is that as an individual investor, if you want to go into crypto, remember that you should only invest money that you can afford to lose, right? Because we do see a lot of high-profile cases. Even institution investors could get it wrong, what say a retail investor. So don't really put in your life saving into crypto, right? You really don't know, right? When shit hits the fan, what will happen. And lastly, that's the advice I gave just now, not your keys, not your coins. Okay, so if you really want to hold certain crypto long term, it's better to store them in your own wallet, whether is it hardware wallet or not, but your own wallet. Okay, and keep the private key safe. And I think that is something that everybody should really do it, rather than just leave their tokens and crypto on the centralized exchange. So hopefully now you know what are the things that you need to do and you have a better picture of what has gone wrong with this FTX issue. Give me a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.